All right, Unit 3, lesson number 4. I've had a question about number 10. 10 has A, B, C, and D, so I've picked one of the more challenging ones, so I've picked 10B, and that should kind of give you a guide through. You can see I've created a grid, so you really just need a sketch. You don't have to do this overly accurate, but it's just easier for me to pull up a grid with the software. What you want to do is you want to treat this as 3 different functions. So I know in the Ontario curriculum we don't teach piecewise functions in the academic stream anymore, which is too bad because when we get to this part in calculus, you kind of need it. So I'm just going to do a quick review on how this will work. So some of you can do this in your head. I'm going to do it out in full so you can see the process. So I'm basically going to break it into its 3 parts and analyze each part. So the first one, I'm going to call y1. So write out y1 equals 1 minus x squared. I'm going to make myself a quick table of values. And here it says x is less than or equal to 0. So I am going to include 0 in the table. And then I'm just going to pick a couple of points. Thus, I just need enough points to sketch the curve. All right, and I'm going to include 0 in there because it's less than or equal to. So plugging that in, 1 minus 0 is 1. 1 minus negative 2 squared is 4. So that would be a negative 3. Negative 4 squared is 16. So it's going to go way off the page. So 1 minus 16 is negative 15. I might just do a negative 3 because that point's not very useful for me with my grid. So that's going to be a 9. 1 minus 9 is negative 8. So I can graph those points right there. So 0, 1. So 0, 1. This gets a solid dot on my graph because it's included. Negative 2, negative 3. Right there. And negative 3, negative 8. So there is 1/3 of my graph. Change colors here. So I'll go y2 equals x plus 1. My table of values. Now I look at it. I can't really include 0. All right. But because it's between 0 and 1, there's not a whole lot of options here. So I am going to include 0, but I'm putting a star beside it to let myself know this is not in my graph. It's empty or an open dot. It's a line, x plus 1, so I only need 2 points anyway. So I'll put the endpoint in that they've provided. So calculating that, I got a 1 and a 2. So I'm going to change colors on the graph. So 0, 1 is an open dot. All right. Now, it's already a solid dot from the first one. So I'm going to put the circle on there just to emphasize it. And then 1, 2, solid dot. So I have a little green segment graph like that. And I'll talk about the open dot versus solid dot in 1 second. Finally, y3 is x minus 1 squared. And my table for that is it's got to be larger than 1. So the same thing. I'm going to put the 1 in. I'm going to put a star beside to remind myself it's really not included. And I'm just going to get 2 more points here. So if I had a 1, 1 minus 1 is 0 squared is 0. So then plugging in the rest, 2 take away 1 is 1, 1 squared, and 4. So I know I'm going to have an open dot here because I had a star. So at 1, 0, I've got an open dot. And then 2, 1, and then 3, 4. So it's going to look like that. Okay, so let's talk about the analysis. What does continuous mean? And what does discontinuous mean? Continuous means that I can sketch my graph. So I can take a pen or a pencil. So I'm going to try to find a different color. So I'll use yellow. So here's my pencil. So if you take your pencil and follow it, do I ever have to lift my pencil? So when I got to this open dot and solid dot, they overlap each other. So I wouldn't have to lift my pencil. And I can get to that point. Oops, and I don't know what my board did there. All right, so assuming the board will work for me, you can see that I don't have to lift my pencil at all. So that means at the point of interest here, and our first point of interest was at 0, Okay, I never had to lift my pencil or pen, so that means that it is continuous. So therefore, continuous, I don't even know if I lost control of my U's and O's there. Continuous looks right. Continuous at x equals 0. But now, when I go to finish, I have to lift my pencil, all right, and then move down here to finish. So as soon as I lift that pencil in that region, we have discontinuous. Continuous. That's at x equals 1. So at that part there, it's discontinuous because I had to lift my pen or pencil. So when you are doing these questions, this is optional. Okay, your tables, I don't need to see T-charts or tables. You can do this mentally. Just be careful with open dot versus solid dot. So that's optional. The sketch is also optional, but 9 times out of 10 on a test or a quiz or a journal, I'm going to ask you to give me a sketch because I want to make sure that you actually know how to come up with this graph or what it's going to look like. All right. If you have any questions, you need some clarification, let me know, and I will see what I can do to help you out.